Hello and welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game.
It's
It's game. Let's meet the Pam.
I'm Larry.
Hi, I'm Jesi.
I'm Ari.
And I'm Josh. And today we are going to be going over a short story that originally appeared in The New Yorker, but has made its way into Brooklyn Noir, the Classics.
That word is pronounced noir.
Or Brooklyn Noir 2, the Classics.
That's French.
And the story we're going over is Only the Dead Know Brooklyn by Thomas Wolfe. And the discussion starter that I have for this one is a simple one. How do you think Wolfe's use of a Brooklyn accent, spelling and all, had an impact on the experience of this piece?
It sucked!
I want to say it sucked.
Well,
I think
no,
it
not
just
that bad,
made
but-
it very difficult to read.
I have several
for me,
problems with
at
it, but you
least.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a brilliant idea because I know a lot of writers do that, like Huckleberry Finn. You know, they bring in like the southern accent a lot, and I feel like it can really add to a story. That being said, it's something better heard than it is to read because it is incredibly difficult to read a Brooklyn accent. Therefore, should not be written with a Brooklyn accent.
I think that does make a point.
I think that if you're talking about, if you're reading something about Brooklyn by somebody from Brooklyn, unless it's an audio book, and you want them to hear what the person's saying, and see it jump out of the text, then it's the double-edged sword, where I think it's the most effective way to get something done is to do it this way, but I think that it's best that you read it aloud. My issue is the fact that there really is the whole story is about someone that's lived in Brooklyn all their life coming across somebody that feels that they know about Brooklyn and they have because they have a map.
And just because they like the name of a town.
Yeah.
So,
The fact that's the whole story is the guy with the map thinks he knows everything about Brooklyn.
I thought that guy was a ghost. Like, that's how I interpreted it. Because
of the title.
Like, well, not only that, but because, like, he was talking about drowning, and not long before that, he was talking about going to the docks. And I'm like, okay, you know, here he's dead. He's stuck in limbo in, like, Brooklyn, and he's going to know Brooklyn. And, like, I didn't see it as just a man. Like, I mean, at first he was just a man, but then as I, like, looked more into the text, and maybe it was my misinterpretation because I was
I'm
having
thinking
trouble with
dead
it.
doesn't mean, like, I think it means more like someone who's been ground into the dirt from living somewhere for a long period of time knows where they live.
I think only the dead, as in the people, the Brooklyn is such a the underbelly, the dark underbelly of the particular borough, and what can happen, and that's the person that really authentically knows what's going on.
Let me make a very strong point about this, and that is the Brooklynese accent thingy isn't entirely what bothers me. It's not the spelling that entirely bothers me. It's the fact that Thomas Wolfe is not from New York. He is from Asheville, North Carolina. And so once you have someone from a different area who doesn't know Brooklyn, because he's never been there or only was there for a short period of time when he taught in New York University, you don't really have the ability to write this type of story. In this ability, you're kind of on the outside looking in, and it automatically, to me, becomes a stereotype. This is what all Brooklyn people sound like to this
That's
guy.
actually, yeah, I have to back Ari up just because, like, and again, like, just reading through it, like, I understand that they were trying to give, like, the traditional Brooklyn accent, but in a way, and I can't say because I'm not from Brooklyn, I don't have a Brooklyn accent, but in a way I was like, this might be a little bit
Because
insulting.
I have a friend he's not from Brooklyn, but he's from that area.
Yeah.
He does not have that accent. He does not sound like that, and he's never sounded like that. He sounded, even when he was a kid, he didn't have that thick accent. So to give someone an accent is very stereotypical, and that's partially what bothers me about the story.
Well,
And,
you know, I mean, it's also important to remember that accents fade too. Right? We're becoming more homogenous, especially with television and radio. I think that the accents across the country are kind of homogenizing toward each other.
Yeah.
You know, there's like
yep, like pudding.
yeah, but when was this written? Back in the '60s? I think it would probably
Yeah, I
been a
was
lot
gonna
more
say,
common.
yeah.
Oh no, this was written in the early
1930. It was 1935. It was
Yeah.
written.
Yeah, he was
Stronger
born
accents were
35,
there.
so this was
Yeah, I
actually
think so.
very shortly before he died. It was
Yeah.
like 2 years before he died.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I-
he
I-
died at age 37, so he was really young.
I guess I get him confused with Tom Wolfe.
You have outaged him.
Oh, good for me.
What did you say? You can.
I confuse him with Tom Wolfe.
Oh, yeah, that's what I noticed. Tom Wolfe.
That's why I said the '60s.
Mhm.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Was there anything you wanted to say, Larry?
Oh no, I don't know. They're from Brooklyn. They can take it.
Already?
The plot of this book is, if it was written in like a way that was kind of not accenty, I get it. It's supposed to basically be a conversation, like a city-bound conversation, and someone discovers someone else is like, no, I feel that I know more about Brooklyn. You can't just see my city with a map, but it's got to be longer than this. This is way too short for that kind
Like
of
I
stuff.
said, that's why I really got the feeling that he was talking to a ghost. Like I just like that was, I mean, and at first I didn't get that, but then I want to say like halfway through his walk with this guy, I was just like, I don't think this guy's alive. Like I think he might be a ghost. And I mean, I'm gonna stand by that theory because I feel pretty strongly that I'm pretty sure
You're
that
talking
guy's
about
a ghost.
the guy that.
The one he calls the big dumb guy, like the one with the map.
The one with the map.
Yeah, I'm pretty
'Cause
sure
the
he's
one
a
with the
ghost.
map leaves him, and then as he leaves, because they're on a train when this is happening.
Yeah.
Well,
when
it
he
starts
makes his
on the
way off,
platform.
when he makes his way off, when he heads on his way, the speaker is only wondering. He has no idea what's up with this person. He has no idea what he's getting himself into. So he may be walking into death, but
The
I
only
think he already
thing,
came back from it.
the only thing that I can think of is
I
that
don't think so, Jesi.
this is a book or a short story based off of if two people can believe that they know or know the exact same thing. One of them actually knows the facts about it. The other knows what it is and pretends to know the facts or wants to know the facts, but they both feel like they know the facts, and one of them is arguing with the other.
Yeah.
But if you're going to write a concept like that, you can't make it. You cannot do it this way. It's
Yeah,
not the
I-
right
See,
way
I
to do
don't
it.
even think there's a knows all the facts and doesn't know all the facts. I mean, everybody has a different perspective on everything. Like
That's
you and I
kinda
can
what
be
I was
looking
trying
at the
to say.
same door, and I see something that's maybe slightly more yellow as opposed to brown, and you might be seeing something more brown as opposed to yellow. That doesn't mean either of us are wrong.
He'll
It's
say
just
that door
perspective.
is brown. I'll say it's oak. You'll say it's yellow, and he'll say it's a
It's
door.
the whole
Yeah, exactly.
it's the whole Laurel and Yanny thing all over again.
To me, the big dumb guy, right, is not claiming any kind of expertise at all.
No.
He's just there to visit. He's a
He's
tourist.
walking around.
He's minding his own business.
He's a
So
ghost
when
who
someone
wanders
goes
like
up
that.
to him, it's like, yeah.
It's a ghost wander.
The
like
two
that guy.
guys,
But like
don't people.
the fact that the story ends with him like leaving the train and the other guy's dead. That's not how a story should end. It's just a conversation, then. Like I feel like you should. There must be a
That
message.
is the story.
I'm
not
trying
much
to
of a
say
plot.
there must be a message
The
in
guy
here.
thinks to himself after the other guy leaves the train.
Right, I feel like there should be a message in here. If you're going to write something like that, there's a message. And if there's no message, if Thomas Wolfe did not put, if I can't see the
It's not,
message
the
in here.
issue isn't the message. The issue is that the fact that there's no plot. It's just a discussion,
Yeah.
and
Not much of one.
Which is
No.
fine, but the thing is, if it was a short story with a conversation and there was a small message in it, like like a nurse, like the old nursery rhymes. Not like this is a nursery rhyme or anything, but that would at least still be a good short story. But this is just a conversation, and unless Thomas Wolfe meant to put a message in, or did put a message in, but no one else is seeing it, I'm not sure what to make of it.
I know who the big dumb guy is. It just came to me.
What, you?
No.
I'm kidding.
It's Thomas Wolfe. He's the tourist. This is something that actually happened to him. He went to Brooklyn, met
With a
some
map.
guys. They thought he was out of his mind and sent him on his way.
Well, that could be possible. I mean, he's not from Brooklyn.
Are you referring to the fact he was 37 when he died?
No,
Okay.
that's Jesse's theory.
Ghost.
He didn't write it from beyond the grave or anything.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
did
he was
say?
35 when he wrote this.
Yeah.
He was Trevor's age.
He could have possibly. Yeah, that is an interest. It would be an interesting perspective.
What
piece,
Larry says
but-
actually makes sense. There has to be something in these pages here. Why is there stuff on the back of the page? There needs to be something in these pages to actually make sense. Otherwise, why would you write it? You know, there's always a reason for writing it.
But
There was
the
somebody
thing
else
is,
who, shoot, who was it? There's another writer that has a tendency to write short stories that are literally just conversations with nothing else in it. And shoot, who is it? I remember talking about him too.
Hello, water bottle. How are you doing today?
Yeah, and there's no background descriptions. There's nothing. It's just a quick little conversation. Oh, sugar.
did we go over?
It was
I
like
don't
rope.
think we went over. I think I covered it in class one year, and I just remember being like, "This isn't a story. This is a conversation." Like basically everything you just said, just like from me in an English college classroom, where I was like, "This is not the story. This is a conversation."
If
Who
you don't
was
mind me
it?
saying,
To
I
go
don't
through
know
all my
about these
English
guys,
notes.
but I am I'm so curious as to what our fellow viewers have to say about what you see in this.
I see ghosts.
I mean, she sees a
I
ghost.
see ghosts.
He sees a reversal where the fat guy, the big guy, is actually supposed to be Thomas Wolfe, and I'm seeing absolutely nothing.
What are you seeing, Josh?
He's seeing Mr. Hand.
I'm pretty much I'm seeing the fact that it is it's supposed to be putting you into the environment of people speaking with a Brooklyn accent from somebody that does not possess the perspective,
So
but
like-
there's no story to it.
I
It's
think
the
it's
just
the
fun
outside
that we
looking
all
in.
have something different.
It's just
like,
a com-
way
it's
of
just,
looking at this one. I think that's
it's
fun.
just
It's like a poem.
it's just a quick discussion between somebody that really knows Brooklyn and somebody that thinks they know Brooklyn.
So maybe
That's
if
that. It's a quick encounter.
we
But
could
there's
have
no
your
indication
opinions.
that the person thinks they
to the
know
viewers.
Brooklyn.
The
He doesn't
interesting
claim
thing,
to know Brooklyn. He doesn't say he knows Brooklyn. Where do you
He
get?
just has a map and wants to wander.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he thinks he's well versed in the area.
No,
Yeah, 'cause he
doesn't.
has a
He's
map.
asking for directions. He doesn't remember the name of the bar he was at. He doesn't really. I don't see that in there. I just look at him
That's
as a
why
tourist.
I think what Larry said actually makes a lot of sense, because Wolfe was from a different town, and then you said he went to New York University. Perhaps this is a written, I guess you could say dictation, I suppose, a written way of saying this is what happened to me when I first started teaching at NYU. I met this guy on the platform, and this is just him saying exactly what he heard, and he decides to write it in an accent, maybe because he's pissed off at the guy or something.
That could be, and the fact he also talks in the tourist is speaking in
That's where
not as thick of an accent as the guy that has really been there, but they both,
that's where the
it's
theory kind of
all-
breaks down.
and this is the only piece that uses the Brooklyn accent. Everything else is regular text.
But it's also a first person thing too. Right?
Yeah, it's a first person account.
So I mean,
It's
the
the-
narrator would have a Brooklyn accent.
Yeah, narrator should have a Brooklyn accent. He's probably telling the whole story in that Brooklyn accent,
Yeah.
and the other guy, and making it so that he's speaking for the other guy too. So
And I think also, right, if we follow this a little further with this guy being the Thomas Wolfe in the story, being the stranger, I think maybe what he's trying to say about Only the Dead Know Brooklyn is that because of the fact that there's such competition among Brooklynites and kind of a harshness about knowing Brooklyn that they have, that's what he's kind of going for.
That's kind of what I said earlier, where like the people who already live in Brooklyn are like ground into the dirt from the lifestyle that they have led for, I don't know, 40, 50 plus years and living in the same place, probably, that they know it, and basically saying only the dead, as in only the people who just wake up, go to work, take care of their kids and go to sleep, repeat, rinse, those are the people who know Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Not me, because I'm coming from a different location. It's my first time, or even only 4 months or a year there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're arguing about it with amongst each other, right?
Like when I'm in Philadelphia, I don't know Philadelphia. I mean, I go to Philadelphia, I know some of the places there, but my town is the place that I know the best. And that should apply to all four of us. Like, that's the place you should know best.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like with the way things change almost every day now, I mean, can you really know anywhere very well?
But you learn it, if it's in your town, like you would learn it really quickly. Like there's a Pizza Hut that just opened in my town.
But then again,
apparently there's an Aldi's that opened up in my town, and I had no idea about it until like 2 or 3 months later, and I was like, what? I know about the Taco Bell.
I
did
just
not know
came
about the
across.
Aldi's.
I was just reminded about a laboratory that's in my town.
Yeah, apparently there's
There's
things in my town that I don't even know
there's a
there.
Nike missile facility in my town, but it's abandoned. Don't worry.
Okay.
You got these two Brooklynites in the beginning, right? And they kind of get into an argument, right, about like what train to take, what path to take. They're like, no, you go this way. No, you go that way. Hey, like that.
This is
Yep.
So you know what I mean? Like I wonder if he's trying to say something along those lines, right? Mm-hmm. Where then they're on the train together. He's like, hey, you know anybody? Where did that person? Did anybody drown in Brooklyn? Whatever it was about drowning in Brooklyn. And he's like, what do you think? How are you gonna drown in Brooklyn?
Unless you go to the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That guy at the docks.
Oh, Jesi.
He's a ghost.
Jesi. You're clinging to this thing.
I'm clinging to the ghost. He's got nothing left to do but wander and really get to know Brooklyn.
And only he knows it.
Alrighty then. Any concluding thoughts?
I want to read more Thomas Wolfe now that I know that he's a different guy.
Oh, okay.
He's also a ghost.
I am not a be quiet. I don't like the fact that it was written in the way it was. I feel I could have understood the story better if it was not in this accent, or maybe, like Jesi had said, if I listened to it. So I have not listened to it. So I am not going to rate or judge
We don't
this
rate
story.
short stories, poems, or documents.
I know. I'm saying for me personally. What? You have a problem with that? You say I can't read
You got a
short
problem
stories?
with
Come on,
that?
man. Come on, man.
That's where you throw in the Brooklyn
I'm not
accent.
going to do any of that
People when they're allowed to rate things.
until I actually hear the story. And I'm not really an audiobook listener, but in this case, it might be beneficial. It might.
Yeah,
be.
and it's
I thought
available on YouTube as
It
well.
helped when I was reading it aloud, so I
That
think
might
that
help.
I wouldn't be able to do
I
that
think
with
that
the transfer.
I tried. I really did. I didn't
auditory
think
would
of
be better
looking
for
up
this
in-
one.
Well, we all know what Jesi thinks. So.
Okay. Yep. Ghost. If you're interested in checking out this and plenty of other short stories, you can find it at Brooklyn Noir 2, the classics. This includes several short pieces from writers such as H.P. Lovecraft, Irwin Shaw, Colson Whitehead, and plenty of others. And before we go, Ari, were you interested in doing a Tori impersonation? Because you're in her seat?
The Tori
A
impersonation?
Tori
Are you gonna be
impersonation.
Tori? I love Tori.
No, but I'm interested in doing something else.
Oh no.
What's that?
Oh no.
Ooh, it's a go!
Be sure to join us next time for another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading.